welcome everyone to our new show, Star Wars Saturdays. I'm your host, Juwaan, and every Saturday I will be joined, hopefully, by our two Dakotas. First Dakota of Skates to Throats. Welcome. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. This trying to keep my mind together during this whole quarantine thing, man. It's been a blast.
That's all we could do, man. If we can keep our minds by the end of this, we'll be good. If not, we'll all turn to zombies. And also, my fellow brother in the Force, AJ. What's going on, AJ?
What's up? What's up? Let's do this a second time. Hopefully, we'll keep taking down.
Yeah, me and AJ actually made a video on Saturday for Star Wars Saturday, but Disney just wasn't liking either my editing or the fact that we were, I guess, using too much imagery, whatever. So this time we're not going to have any scenes, any clips, nothing. We're just going to free ball it from the mind, break down the episode, and just talk a little Star Wars. Me and AJ had a great conversation. Dakota, by the end of this episode, I'm going to put you on the spot for you to give me your top 5 Star Wars characters.
I got you, dude. I got you.
It doesn't have to just be.
I'm confident in mine. I'm confident in mine now.
We're gonna get
Don't you worry about that.
We're gonna get your list again. We're gonna get my list again. But all right, let's start. Let's talk about this latest episode. This is episode 7, you said, or episode 9?
This has got to be episode 7.
7? I wasn't sure.
It's a 4-part series, and the last of the 4 parts is the. I thought it might be 8.
Let me double check. Season 7, episode 8. Let's see what comes up when I type in episode 8. Yeah, it looks like that was episode 8.
Yeah.
Siege of Mandalore.
No, it was 9.
9? No, 9's the one that's coming out this Friday.
Yeah, 9's Order 66.
Yeah. 9's the one
on Disney Plus. It says episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten.
Was that? 9. Hold on, let me double check, because now I'm sitting like, wait a minute, hold on, something's going on here. Hold on, let me double check. Hold on, let me see. Oh, did I got it on my phone?
Yeah, it's episode 9.
Things. Hold on.
All right. I think it's gonna be 12 episodes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing's 12 episodes.
Nope. Don't play the episode. We don't need this taken down. Stop it, phone. All right, I already got enough Disney beef, so let's calm that down. All right, so season 7, and AJ is absolutely. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Old Friends Not Forgotten.
That one is the first of the 4.
So then it seems like this week must be Siege of Mandalore, and then the episode after is Order 66. But all right, let's get into this episode. This is a great start to this episode. We kind of see Anakin and first we see Obi-Wan and Cody trying to get through the battle. And then Anakin just swoops in like a G. Dakota, walk me through your first step of this battle. Mainly, how cool did you think it was when it was like, oh my God, is Cody about to die? And then Obi-Wan just like godly appears.
Well, first of all, I was high when I watched it for the first time, and I gotta tell you, I appreciated everything about that episode. Like in that first opening sequence, it is so beautiful. Like you have that smoke coming off of Obi-Wan's lightsaber as he sliced that missile in half. It's just crazy to think that in like 3 days, these guys are all going to turn on each other.
Right. It's funny because AJ had to remind me, like I was sitting here panicking because you watched the entire series of what's
Rebels.
The series, AJ? Yes, Rebels, right? Dakota, you seen
Rebels?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, it's gonna suck when like Rex dies, and then AJ comes in and he's like, Juwaan, he was in Rebels. I was like, oh
yeah,
shit, that's right, I forgot. I was like, oh God, because I was so scared because I know, because out of all the clones, because we remember in Revenge of the Sith, Cody does turn on Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
That was the main reason Obi-Wan jumped in the water, had to swim away. The first thing I told AJ was, there's no way in hell Rex would ever betray Anakin. Like, he would never do that. And then AJ was like, Juwaan, well, he doesn't die either. He's like in Rebels. And I was like, oh.
See, I got a theory. I think he actually heard what Fives said before Fives died, because Fives was my favorite clone up until his very end.
Really? Because Rex has always been he's always been
Rex is not, Rex is number 2, but
I think there was an episode, a specific episode where there was this one clone that figured out that he had a chip.
Yeah, this is Fives. Yeah,
so I think that Rex takes his out as well before.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
This.
Yeah. But see, this is what sucks, because it's like Dave Filoni, the beautiful, beautiful man that he is giving us this as it's kind of coming into its end, even though Revenge of the Sith could be a way longer story than what he's making it out of just this last season. There's more you could have done with Ahsoka. There's more you could have done with Anakin and Obi-Wan's adventures. There's plenty more that I'm sure Grievous did in between Clone Wars and the end of Revenge of the Sith before he died ultimately.
He's starting to look like 2003 Grievous.
Okay, hold on. Before we get there, because we're going to get there, because Dave Filoni is beautiful. That is an exact shot from Revenge of the Sith where Grievous is just standing on his ship, and it almost looked exactly like the movie. That's how good that artwork.
Oh, yeah.
But AJ, you walk me through, because you love this part. You walk me through. I'm going to get your thoughts too, Dakota. Walk me through when Anakin first shows up, and he's just, like, shooting the shit with Kenobi, and, like, the droid shoots at him, and he kind of just goes, yeah, so, and then blah, blah, blah. Like, wait, what? We're not going to talk about how you just dodged that like it was nothing? Like, walk me through that, AJ.
Yeah, that whole sequence of just seeing Anakin as cocky as ever, I thought was just brilliant. And you just see the difference between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Anakin, once again, cocky. He's confident in his strategies and all that. While Obi-Wan is he overthinks things way too much. And I love the duality of the two.
Right.
And you just see Anakin and just his old fashioned, just, I'm done. You guys got me. You guys won the fight. And I was like, I was just laughing the whole way through. And once the, what was the droid's name? The strategy droid or whatever.
Droid.
Yeah.
Just a tactical droid, yeah.
Yeah. And when he saw him, he just force pulled him in and just sliced him up. And then everyone just started shooting. I was like, yes, this is incredible. And I just love Anakin so much because of that just specific scene and other scenes from just throughout the whole Clone Wars. He's just amazing as a character. And before that, you can see a lot of Ahsoka. And you can see a lot of Anakin and Ahsoka just from this episode as well. And you can just see how he influenced her so much, and I just love how we see Anakin, and then we feel Anakin even though he's not even there. So
yeah, I was telling AJ, Dakota, on the episode we were trying to do on Saturday. I made two analogies. I was saying Obi-Wan and Anakin are definitely a more galactic version of Lethal Weapon. Like Anakin is clearly Mel Gibson. Like
Riggs and Murtaugh.
Young Mel Gibson could easily be Anakin.
Riggs and Murtaugh in space.
100%. Like, how often do you see Obi-Wan to where it looks like he's just gonna hit you with, "I'm too old for this, man."
Yeah.
Go ahead, you got it. But I also brought up how similar Kylo and Anakin are. To where it's almost identical. And I told AJ the biggest thing I regret from J.J. Abrams is that we didn't get a movie before Force Awakens where it shows Leia and Han giving Luke permission to train Kylo. We seeing Luke gather Jedi. Us getting to see a good version of Ben Solo, so that when we see Force Awakens and we see the turn, it's more like, oh shit, like, oh my, like, you know what I'm saying? It hits harder. We get to see him take the Knights of Ren. And I was even telling AJ, you could have a scenario to where it's like every night, like Ben is having nightmares to where he hears his voice trying to convert him to the dark side that ends up being Snoke. And it comes this one part where it's this person trying to kill them, and Luke's like, "Don't kill him. We'll slap cuffs on him or whatever, and try to talk him down." And Kylo kills him. And then, it's a rift between Luke and Ben to where it's like, I killed him to save everybody. And Luke's like, we don't kill. That's not what we do. We don't just murder people. And you see that be the thing that kind of leads Ben to becoming Kylo, and Luke becoming the guy that's like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like, I thought I wanted to teach kids. I hate you guys.
Nope.
Never doing it again. So I'm like, not getting that, I think, took a lot away from people really kind of feeling Kylo, feeling for Kylo. So to me, I look at I look at Anakin here with his hair is longer in this season, quite like Kylo's was. They scream each other, and I just wish we could have seen more of Ben Solo. To where it would have made more sense. Where it's like, yeah, no, that's definitely Anakin's grandson. Like that's his grandson. But no, really quickly before we get back into the episode, would you have liked to have seen a movie somewhat like that before we saw Force Awakens, or were you cool on how that all played out?
Honestly, like, I went into the sequel trilogy like hoping it was going to be this great spectacular thing, and Force Awakens was pretty good. I do agree we should have gotten some kind of backstory into or more time spent with Kylo Ren before he became, or Ben Solo before he became Kylo Ren. Right. There's a bunch of things that were just missed opportunities, and easily missed opportunities. Like, I don't understand why the buildup of Rey and Finn was made for 2 movies, and then all of a sudden just thrown away by the third one.
Yeah, and it was crazy because everyone thought when Finn was like, Rey, like, I have something to tell you, everyone was like, oh, he's going to say, like, how much he loves her. And it turns out all he was trying to tell was like, hey, I'm force sensitive. Like, I can do this shit too. Yeah. Like, that was it. And I was like, that was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And the fans' reactions were weird. Fans were like, I want Finn with Rey. And then it quickly was like, I want Finn with Poe. And then it was like, I want Poe with Rey. And I'm like, all right, this is really weird, guys. Like, this is, you guys, no, it doesn't work like that. But,
no. I mean, it's just such a weird thing to just say, like, hey, I've got to tell you something, and then just never go back to it. Like, throughout the rest of the movie. They just dropped it. I'm like, is this the Room? Like, this got as many plot holes as the Room.
I always felt like Star Wars took a more direct approach on, like, we only do trilogies. Like, we don't do a 4th one. We don't do sequels. We do either 1 or we do 3.
Yeah.
And I was really happy when Marvel decided to break that mold, because I'm like, just tell as many stories as you have. If you feel as though you don't have anything else to tell, end it. No problem. Just end it. But I'm like, I looked at the Force Awakens trilogy, and I'm like, more story should have been there. Whether it was more about Snoke, whether it was more about Luke's time in isolation, us getting to see Han, Luke, and Leia. Instead of getting a movie with Han, did a movie with Luke, did a movie with Leia and Luke, like, to me, I kind of feel like it was a little bit all over the place, but that's what happens when you have originally
3 different directors.
Then 2 different directors.
I don't even think that was the issue. It was the Kathleen Kennedy didn't let them, like, planning out throughout the whole series. It's fine if they have different directors as long as they have a one focused storyline, which they didn't. Each director had their own story, and that doesn't coexist right with each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really disagree with that. Kathleen Kennedy has made it known that her knowledge of Star Wars is not that vast. She's more of the money person rather than like the I love this kind of, like, she's not like Feige. Like, Feige is your money guy, and he just loves the craft, so he's gonna give you the best of both. She is more like, I'm gonna make sure this makes a lot of money.
Yeah, but
she's been doing that, so.
Yeah, but she still sticks her hands in the movies as well. Like with the Obi-Wan series, she said that she didn't like the story, so let's start it over, basically.
I mean, come on, though. We need that. I need an Obi-Wan series.
We're still getting it. That
I'll say this. I'll say if Kathleen read the script and didn't like it, her knowledge of Star Wars maybe isn't where we would like it to be. But if she feels comfortable enough that she knows enough about Kenobi that story just didn't work, I trust it. Because albeit she has not done the best job running this, I have more movies under her belt that I liked than I disliked. So
that's fair.
At the end of the day, it's not like she's putting out crap movies. So you look at it and you kind of go, maybe she knows a little bit about what she's doing. Sure. Could she have someone in her ear that's like a Star Wars purist? Yeah, I think that would.
Dave Filoni those two together will be a good team up.
Yeah.
No, see, honestly, I would love for Kathleen to either be promoted up or step down, and I would actually like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to be the spearhead.
Oh my God, yeah,
that would be amazing.
Forward. Because I honestly I thought Jon Favreau was the ultimate comic book like Marvel guy, and then when he did The Mandalorian, I'm like, Jon Favreau knows Star Wars too. Like, what doesn't Jon Favreau know how to do?
What do y'all before we keep going? What do y'all think of Kevin Feige doing producing a movie as well, a Star Wars movie?
I am all for it. He will do it justice. Granted, it'll be CGI heavy, but he'll do it justice.
Yeah, it will be CGI heavy, but one thing I can always say is this: I'm sorry. Feige, when Feige does something, he does it because he loves it. Yeah. So, albeit I do feel as though Disney is like, Kevin Feige is really hot right now. Let's strike while he's hot. Put him on something Star Wars related. I do think if Feige says he wants to do it, and he came out and said he was a Star Wars fan before he was a Marvel fan. So I mean, when you hear that, you kind of go, all right. Well, I mean, if he was able to make the MCU what it is now, he could do the same thing with Star Wars. I will say this: I would actually love Kevin Feige to do Knights of the Old Republic. I trust him.
I think
yes.
I think that's what they're going towards. That's because that's why they chose Kevin Feige to produce one movie, just to see how that does, and then he'll probably be like the main person that has the ideas and help Kathleen Kennedy along with the overall story arc of the Knights of the Old Republic or whatever the stories they're gonna tell. So
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Dakota.
Who would be your ideal cast if it was a movie?
Well, like you have to have Malgus in. I will not accept it if you don't have Malgus. That is most important. Malgus has to be there front and center. I'd actually prefer him to be your main character. Like, I don't really need much Jedi. Just throw a few.
Having a Sith as the main character, I would actually love that.
Yeah. I think
I would hope they tell it from Revan's point of view, and it starts like before he fell to the dark side, and then you see it happen, and then that's a perfect trilogy right there.
I would.
You could literally break that into 3 parts.
I love that. Mainly, the main reason why Knights of the Old Republic is so special to me isn't because of the game necessarily, isn't because of Malgus necessarily. It's because of the idea of the Sith have been gone for forever. Like there was no mention of the Sith. There was no Sith, just out, trolleying around. There was nothing. And then one day the Jedi are just like, it looked really good outside of space, and then boom, like Sith just come out of nowhere, just like flooding in. I would love to see the history of what led up to them disappearing, and then seeing all the years or centuries later where they reappeared. Because if you just go off of the little bit that the game movie, like if you just watch the cutscenes of Knights of the Old Republic, how they did it was like beautiful. To where it was just like there were no Sith, and now it's like hordes of them. I really think if you could bring that to the big screen, because it very much is Game of Thrones meets Star Wars. It was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. So I'm like, if you convey that, and I tell you this right now, that will be the highest grossing movie ever, purely because all it is, if they stick true to it, is nothing but lightsaber battles. You put that on the big screen, all ages will fall in love with it. All ages. And it just has a really great story to it also. But yeah, the only person I care about, Dakota, is Revan, but Malgus.
I need Keanu Reeves as Revan. That's all I'm saying. I need Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan.
When I first heard that, I was like, that would be great. But then AJ was like, AJ, you were lobbying for Revan to be female, right?
Yeah.
I love that more than anything else. I would love for Revan to be someone you see, like he wears the cloak, so he looks like a big guy in stature, takes the cloak off, and it's a slimmer build, and you're like, Revan's a woman? Like, I'm getting trashed by this woman right now? You know what I'm saying? And I think that would bring more butts to the seats, kind of like how Rey brought more female eyes to Star Wars. I think that would be great. I wouldn't hate that. Me and AJ have been lobbying for an Asajj Ventress movie.
That would be dope.
I personally think you sign Angelina Jolie to do it. It could be just one movie, a one-off. You can bring in Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan to be the guy that Angelina Jolie takes on in that movie. There's just so much you could do with Asajj Ventress. Like, so much you can do. The Night Sisters. Savage.
How about Maul and Savage?
You could bring in all that, and then Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan on top of that.
God, you make the episode of Boss. No, here you go. You got to make that episode of Rebels twin sons into a movie where Maul goes to confront Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
just have the whole thing build up to the lightsaber battle, and it's only like 5 seconds.
Right? The audience.
How many people will be pissed about that, though?
I tell you what. Ryan Johnson would never have to worry about heat against his name ever again, because whoever directed that would be the most hated individual on planet Earth. So yeah,
second battle.
He wouldn't have to worry about that. But to get back into the episode, we get right after Anakin alerts Rex. Rex and all the troopers, 501, come start taking out all of the droids. Anakin and Obi-Wan get a distress signal to head back to the ship. They have a message. Anakin was kind of like, so just tell me what it is. And like, no, I think you kind of should probably see this yourself. And then we get to the point where I told AJ I almost started crying. You see Anakin and Obi-Wan walk into the ship, and you slowly see Ahsoka turn around, and Anakin's face. Like, Dave Filoni and his team did a really great job with the animation of faces in this season, because you can convey so much emotion just from one look. And you just see Anakin just drop, not physically, but more mentally, to where it's like, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, how are you? AJ, kind of walk me through your thoughts when Anakin sees Ahsoka for the first time since she left the Order.
Yeah, you basically hit it on the head. Just seeing the look on his face was just on its own incredible. You can actually see everybody else turn towards Anakin for like a little second, and everybody just looked at his expressions, then turned back to Ahsoka. I just love those two together, especially since we got them in was it the first episode of the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. For me personally, I enjoyed the chemistry from the get-go. A lot of people didn't care for it. I was like, I'm all for it. So just seeing their character arcs together grow within the whole series as a whole, I loved it. And then to see them face to face again, it was very emotional. Even I think Obi-Wan was surprised as well. And you can just tell Ahsoka as a character with the fans is a special character with all of us, and as well with the characters inside the story. Anakin, Rex, Obi-Wan, everyone. They all love Ahsoka. We all love Ahsoka. So to see her again is just breathtaking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's
Go ahead, Dakota, take it away.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty much my thoughts exactly. It was just like that whole starship sequence from like beginning to end is just perfect. right up until like the very end when they both look at each other, like for the last time. That was probably my favorite scene in the entire series, if I have to be honest. Except for the Ghost of Mortis, that one was good.
Ghost of Mortis, oof, that was good. So we get right after that where Ahsoka's letting Anakin and Obi-Wan know what's going on in Mandalore. We see Ahsoka and the greatest character ever, Bo. They land inside of the fleet. Anakin sees Ahsoka right in front of his face, again for the first time since she left the Order. And what broke my heart, I told AJ, he started laughing at me, but what broke my heart is like Anakin's like, "How are you?" And she's like, later. I was like, oh shit, all right, damn, okay, I missed you, but okay.
You don't got time for this.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that shit, man. We got a world to save. But I will say I'm watching it now as we're reviewing it. So like I have it live so I can kind of remember a lot of it. Obi-Wan the entire time since they got that message from Ahsoka, there's a lot of side eyeing to Anakin to like, you all right? Like, you okay? And it's like, no, I'm not okay. She won't talk to me. But they're obviously going over Bo-Katan, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka. They're obviously going over what's happening in Mandalore. Obi-Wan's reminding Ahsoka that Jedi aren't just freelance mercenaries. They can't just hop up and just take off to whatever planet needs them. It has to be more strategical. It has to be okayed. And it's just reminding Ahsoka of everything she disliked about the Order and why she walked away to begin with. Dakota, I want to start with you. Do you feel as though Ahsoka made the right decision leaving the Order? Or do you think it's something that could have kind of been fixed through a sit down with her and Anakin and maybe Obi-Wan?
I think if Order 66 had not been enacted, like if some kind of alternate universe where this just never like transpired the way it did, I feel like Ahsoka was close to coming back to the Jedi Order. Unfortunately, it fell before she could really fix this. I feel like after the Siege of Mandalore, she probably would have met back up with them, and I'm sure she would have come back.
That's interesting you feel that way, because I felt as though she was trying her best this entire episode to make it known how much she dislikes the Jedi Order.
Like, that's true. But
I'm reminded like how much you guys fucking suck. Like I was reminded.
Lots of Jedi hate the Jedi Order, though.
That is true. That is true.
A lot of Jedi.
I think what I learned as I grew older, and I obviously read some more of the Star Wars books, looked more into the history of Star Wars, is that Grey Jedi is where it's at. I mean, Grey Jedi is kind of just like, no, whatever is supposed to be right, that's what we're gonna do. Whether it's cutting your head off or saving you, it's like whatever we think is good. That's kind of what and it's kind of literally the split between a Sith that's like, I don't really save people, I kill people. Jedi, I don't really kill people, I save people. Grey Jedi are like, I don't know, whatever saves the day. Like, whatever saves the day, that's what we're gonna do. I don't know. Like, I enjoy that because you look at it and you kind of go, that's ultimately the way things should be. Whatever needs to be done. Like, you obviously aren't just going out there randomly killing people. But also some battles aren't battles you need to be a part of. And I think that's what Grey Jedi mainly are. They're like, what is the best thing for everyone? And I think the best thing for everyone is to kind of dabble here, dabble there. But I kind of feel like Ahsoka was on her way to becoming possibly a Grey Jedi. To where, and that's where I think Rey left things at. In the last trilogy that we saw, to where she wasn't obviously a Sith, but she also kind of saw what Luke was starting to see, that it's not all it's cracked up to be a Jedi. No. They're wrong also. They're wrong a lot more times than they're not. So I really appreciated kind of where Rey kind of left it at, to where it was like, no, not.
I don't think Rey was becoming more of a Grey Jedi. I think she was trying to, change the thinking of the Jedi itself. So not actually like change it to, oh, I'm gonna become a Grey Jedi.
Well, I also don't think I don't think Jedi really know, because we've never seen them interact with Grey Jedi. So I don't think they know the concept of it. I think she was just becoming it without logically going, oh, I want to be a keeper of peace, to where it's, I don't mind killing, but obviously I don't think she was thinking that. I just think she was becoming what it means to be a gray Jedi, to where you're kind of just in the middle. You're not leaning one side over the other. But also, to your point, AJ, it's kind of hard to categorize her because there's not more Jedi. So it's like she's the only one. So there's no Sith anymore. There's really no Jedi anymore, unless Rey chooses it to be that way. So it's whatever she wants it to be. So it could be, instead of gray Jedi or just regular Jedi or Sith, it's just Rey now. Like, she could just call it, you guys are Rey. Like that's what we are now. It's all Rey.
It would be
I'm
more
not a Jedi
Skywalker
anymore.
than anything.
I'm just a
She
Rey.
adopted the name. It would be Skywalker, not Rey.
That's true. I thought it was really weird when she said that at the end, where it was like, Rey what? It was like, you're asking me a lot of fucking questions. None of your business. Like, what do you mean? But when she thought about it and she's like, Skywalker. Like, I'm like, you just take their name? Like, that's
I like
what you
it.
do?
I like that scene. A lot of people hated it, but I like how she just adopted the name.
I didn't hate it because, I mean, you can assume the time she spent with Leia, they became like family. So, when you saw Leia and Luke's ghost, they seemed very okay with it. So, you don't really get mad at something if the people who own the name weren't mad. I just thought it was really weird. It was like, felt like there was no setup. Like, I could have taken like just some dialogue where she's like, I feel like I'm one of you guys, Luke. And it was like, oh, okay, that might be something that's set up later. It was just random.
Just stealing their identity.
Right. It was just like out of nowhere.
Identity theft's still a crime, yo.
Right? It's like I'm a Skywalker because there's no more Skywalkers to object to it. So it's like, I guess I'll carry it. But no, I mean, ultimately, I didn't really have any issue with it. But back to the episode. We get to Anakin walking Ahsoka to the 501, where the 501 have their customary blue and white, now with their gray orange helmets. Out of respect to Ahsoka, we see Ahsoka kind of go like, this is weird. I wasn't expecting any of this. But Anakin was reminding her that we're family and we're loyal to each other. No matter what you decided to do, you're always welcome home. We kind of see Obi-Wan more so like, no. Like, she left. But no, we see Obi-Wan very weirdly run in. AJ, me and you were laughing when we were watching the clip. He runs really weird.
He does. It was odd.
He runs onto the scene to let Anakin know that Coruscant is being attacked by Grievous, which we know now. Dakota, I'm curious on your thoughts. Me and AJ were talking about this. What Obi-Wan's referring to is the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, the actual live-action movie, where Grievous kidnaps Chancellor, and Anakin and Obi-Wan have to go rescue him. Walk me through your mindset when you were realizing, oh shit, they're talking about the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
My face was that Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was just like, oh.
But I thought that was truly special. And you have to be a real fan to pick up on, oh my God, this is not only the last time Anakin will see Ahsoka, but this is also the last time Anakin will see the 501st, and the last time, but the last time Ahsoka sees Anakin before, obviously, he becomes Vader and they meet up in Rebels. But yeah, that's a deep cut. That was a deep cut. Like, you had to be a fan to go, they're talking about the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. I want to ask you this, Dakota, because AJ thinks we won't see it. Do you think we'll get an episode to where we actually see the events of the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin cuts off Dooku's arm? Obviously, they won't show that, but a quick cutaway of that. But we see Anakin start to make his ascendance into becoming Darth Vader. Do you think we'll
be
get
descendants?
Yeah. It would be interesting to see. Maybe like a clip thing, kind of like how they did at the beginning of this, where you see all the Jedi ending up on the planets where they're going to die at.
Yes, that was
a real stab. Yeah, that was a real stab too.
It was like, hey, everyone you see here, like, might be your last time
like
seeing.
Plo Koon. I'm like, oh, not Plo Koon, man. Fly away, bud.
I do want to say that's one thing I really want to thank Dave Filoni for, is because I think the one thing Star Wars movies didn't really do a good enough job portraying is there's a lot of skilled Jedi out there. Like, it's not only Mace, Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. Like, Ahsoka, Plo Koon was very skilled.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so many.
Even Dooku, man, so much more Dooku, and you just see the kind of person he was and the kind of pajamas he wore.
Yes. I do want to say this, though, Dakota. I pointed this out to AJ on the last episode. I love that Dave Filoni showed us the more human side of Dooku when he brought on Asajj. And how hurt he was when Palpatine made him try to kill her. Like, he didn't.
He's not a true Sith.
He's
he
not.
Really
that's
isn't.
what I love, because honestly, if you think about it, there is not one person besides Palpatine that was a true Sith. Everyone was broken a little bit.
He was more of a gray Jedi than anything, and it's just
exactly.
Like,
that's why Palpatine never called him like Darth.
Yeah.
Or
exactly. No, he called him Darth Tyrannus. Darth Tyrannus.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
He knew he was a placeholder. That's what it was.
But even I tell people, because people go, well, no, Darth Maul was like a true Sith. He wasn't. How broken was he with Savage? He loved his brother. It took him a while.
That was before we actually saw Clone Wars. When we saw him in Phantom Menace, we were like, oh yeah, he's a Sith.
Oh right. No, but I'm saying now that we've seen the story unfold, we now know that the only really true Sith that we've seen either through cartoons or on the big screen is Sidious. Darth Vader folded, Maul folded, Dooku folded. So we've seen them. Yes. We've seen them all fold.
Lawn chair factory.
Because deep down, there is something that always affects somebody. Like, no one's completely shut off except for Darth Sidious.
I would say Darth Nihilus. Darth Nihilus was truly shut off.
Oh, no. In the books and in the comics, we see a lot that are Sith. I'm just talking about in live action or in cartoons.
Yeah,
we
true.
Seen that yet.
Yeah, true.
So we fast forward. We see Anakin give Ahsoka her lightsabers with a new touch. They're no longer green. They're blue. Anakin was like, I was turning that shit blue. I did more.
Like, you left green wasn't your color. Yeah.
No.
He was like, when you left, that was the end of green. Like, it's blue around these parts. So I like that. She even gave him like a little grin, like, of course. And then we see that Anakin kind of bargains with Obi-Wan, allow Ahsoka to take the 501 crew to help her with defending Mandalore. Obi-Wan.
Well, they split it off. It's the 332nd now. Is her,
the 332nd. You're right. But it's led by Rex. It's a new group led
Commander
by Rex. Right. So the 501 technically is still with Anakin, but Rex took a group and split off. So we see Obi, Anakin, and their crew head over to Coruscant to go help rescue Chancellor, and we see Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and what was it again? The three what? The crew that she took with Rex. What was the name of it again?
Oh, the 332nd.
332nd. That's gonna be really hard.
I just have a side thought. Like, that was the last time Rex ever saw Anakin too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he ever met Darth Vader.
No.
But the thing is, he was on the Battle of Endor, so he was like feet away from where Anakin's funeral was and had no idea.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? And that was the one thing I was upset with Dave Filoni about, because he never had a scene to where Rex and Ahsoka sat down with each other and Ahsoka broke it down to him that Anakin's now Vader. You know, like the guy you're hearing these stories about, that's now Anakin. And I think
they ended Rebels way too quickly too.
They did. They really did. And I think that would have been a very emotional scene between the two of them.
I think there was a reason why he didn't do that though. I think it was because Ahsoka wanted to spare Rex.
All right, so like you were saying, AJ, you were saying Rex was trying to spare. Ahsoka was trying to spare Rex. I get what you're saying. To me, though, I think you rob us of that. Because it is something that we want to kind of see play out, because we've seen Rex. We see now that Rex was with Anakin since the beginning. And I think it's only right that he knows what the end is. And the end is Anakin didn't die. Really. He now exists as Darth Vader. So I think it was just really important that we see the scene between the two of them where they share the hurt. I also would have loved if we saw Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Rex get together again, and share that hurt together, to where Ahsoka's like, "Did you know? Like, did you know?" And Obi-Wan's like, "I found out. Like, I found out that he's
Maybe that'll be the last episode. Because I already know this next episode. The last half of this next episode is Order 66. And then there's still 2 other episodes after that. So there's a bunch of stuff we could still see.
I am curious how much of Revenge of the Sith this season will dig into, as far as showing Anakin's rise to becoming.
Just don't let the season end.
I do think a lot of people forget Anakin became Darth Vader way before he put on the robotic suit.
Yeah.
He was granted the name Darth Vader after he helped get rid of Mace Windu. Which, by the way, I'm really upset no one in Star Wars history has decided to go back to the fact that Mace Windu didn't die after the events of that. Like, he lost his arm, but he didn't die.
No, he's like one of the most powerful Force users.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's alive somewhere out there, and everyone was just like, no, I don't really want to tell that story. And I'm like, why? Like, why? No one's told a really good...
Get Samuel L. Jackson with a robotic arm. You can do it.
Come on. If Bucky can make it look good, Samuel L. Jackson can make that thing look good, man.
That shit would be purple. You know it.
Oh, 100%. It would be purple. It would have spinning rims on it. He would check it out. But no, we see as we were saying before, we obviously see Obi-Wan grant Ahsoka the right to take some people with her. So we see them flying over Mandalore, which is some of the best action sequences in Star Wars Clone Wars history. I was telling AJ, Dakota, I was dying laughing when Rex was like, "Oh, dang, Ahsoka, sorry, we forgot a parachute, like a jetpack for you." And she's like, "Oh, no. Do you know who my master is? I don't need jetpack." She kind of just is like, "See you down there," and then just jumps out just like Anakin would. And I loved it. And I want to get your opinion on this, Dakota. I was telling AJ, what piqued my interest the most is that even though Ahsoka knows they're the enemy, she wasn't killing them. She was just like slicing their jetpacks, and they were like exploding. But we don't know if they were like blowing up or it was kind of just like an explosion of the jetpack. But what were your thoughts on the fact that Ahsoka wasn't just ripping through these guys? She was kind of just like, kind of getting them out of the way, really.
Oh yeah, she fucking wrecked shop going through there. I mean, it's just shows how talented she has become. I mean, even after the Jedi, she's continued to hone her Force skills, and you can see that on full display. And it's just incredible how that whole scene ended, and it was a perfect scene. Like the rest of this episode, it was just beautiful to watch.
I really loved it because it shows that Ahsoka isn't willing to go there yet. But the more she gets out of becoming a Jedi, the more so I think she'll be inclined to defend herself by any means. But you still see somewhat of a gentle side of Ahsoka even in Rebels. She seems more at peace. She seems like she kind of understands everything Anakin had been trying to teach her. But back to this episode, AJ, I know you were loving it. You were loving her landing. You were loving the battle in the sky. How dope was that to you, man?
Just incredible. I just love how she just tells Rex, "I'll beat you there." She was like, "I'll race you there." And then once she lands, and then you see Rex, and she says, "I beat you," and Rex was like, "Things never change."
Now, do you know where that's from, though?
It was the
Come on, let's test your Star Wars knowledge, AJ. Come on. Because I can tell you exactly where this is from.
Can't think of it.
All right, it is from the movie where they're on those huge AT-ATs that are walking up the side of the mountain. Anakin and Ahsoka are like, let's race to the top. And then Anakin's like, "Rex, you want in on this?" And Rex is like, "Hell yeah!" And then Ahsoka beats them. Anakin beats them up there by jumping on the robot and riding it all the way up to the top. And she's like, "No fair, master, you cheated." And it's a callback to how often they were doing these little side bets where they were racing and stuff like that.
The competitive nature is
exactly
their teamwork and competitive nature is just incredible. I love all three of them together.
They are a family, and it's funny because it starts with Rex kind of going, "Who the fuck is this kid?" And Anakin's like, "I didn't want her either, Rex." And trust me, man, I've been trying to get rid of her all day today. And then to see where they are now, how much they love each other, how much they're willing to die for each other. I mean, you got to picture if you're Rex, this is scary. You're going to go up against Darth Maul, the guy that is unanimous for just killing anything. And Rex is like, for Ahsoka, I'll do it. Yeah, let me go. If you can't go, Anakin, I'll go. Just how much of a protective brother he seems to be over Ahsoka, same as Anakin.
That's also a recent episode where I forgot her name, but she asked Ahsoka, "Where did you learn how to fight?" And Ahsoka said, "A brother." And
yeah, it's
I love that.
I've already forgotten the character's name, and that's really bad. Martez, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So we obviously get Ahsoka and them making their way into I don't know if it's a castle or a fortress, whatever you want to call it. Dakota, I do want to ask you, how dope did you think those Mandalorians were with the Darth Maul skull spikes in their helmet?
Yeah, dude, like that will God, Mandalorians they just deserve their own series, man. Mandalorians are just great. And I love everything about it. Like, I know we have the Mandalorian and stuff, but we need like a movie.
There's nothing like the actual Mandalore, the lore of Mandalore.
Me and AJ were saying it. I would take a limited series on Disney Plus just about this battle here, this specific.
Fuck the limited series. I want a 100-season series.
No, it doesn't. Think of it like this. Think of it like this. The shorter it is, the more money you can put into it to make it literally perfect. This doesn't need to be dragged out. It's not like a game. You could make it, dragged out to where, you start from where Duchess Satine is there, then you get Duchess Satine dying, then you get Bo-Katan trying to take over. You can do a large series of that. I just think it could somewhat get messy because then you'll have people like, well, Obi-Wan should have been there. Well, then Ahsoka should have been there. And then it kind of gets muddy. So you can kind of do it where you take Jedi out and you shorten it, condense it, make it really, really, really good. But yeah, so we see them going through, taking out some of the Death Watch. I still call them the Death Watch. Taking them out. And then you see Bo-Katan is taking out one of the generals there. And that's when she finds out it's a trap. It's a trap. So she immediately lets Ahsoka.
It's my favorite fucking scene too.
Right? Okay, go ahead. Go into it, Dakota. Go into it.
Like, just the whole sewer scene, it felt like a friggin' horror movie. I loved it. And then like it just sucks. It's like that's Rex's friggin' replacement. Just one episode, he's gone. It's like, come on, man.
Gone immediately, just like that. But I will say, this season, a lot of the edge is taken off because Rebels exist. Yeah. So if Rebels didn't happen, I would have been scared. Like, oh shit, is Ahsoka gonna die? But we now know, of course she doesn't.
Yeah,
of course she doesn't. So
we also have the books. We also have the book of Ahsoka.
Oh, that's true. But I'm saying, if you didn't read the book, I think people today are more likely to watch Rebels than they are to read the book. Because I just don't know many people that read the Star Wars books.
I love the Star Wars books, man.
No, they're great. They're great. I don't come across many people that are like, yo, yesterday I just sat down and I just read.
Learn to read, people.
Yeah. Listen to Audible. You can get them on Audible now. You don't even have to read them.
Oh, man, Audible was a dream come true for me. I hated reading. When I heard Audible, how much listening I'm going to do today. But no, I mean, I'm right with you. It did set itself up like a horror movie. And I very much was waiting for the words, "It's a trap," to just come out of nowhere.
It's Admiral Akbar out of nowhere. It's a trap.
Right. He just kind of pops in the scene and then pops out. But no, I loved it. I loved the build-up. I loved the setup. I love how intense it was getting. And then it leads to Ahsoka and her men being taken out, and then she kind of being cut off.
Fucking Maul.
You seeing the Death Watch kind of like surround her, and then Maul slowly starts to creep out, and he's like, you're not Kenobi. Like,
why are you
where
here?
is Kenobi? Why are you here? And then we ultimately get to the end of the episode. I can't wait to see how this all pans out. We know the last time a Jedi was face to face with Maul in Mandalore, it led to somebody important dying. So I would like to see how this pans out. Where we kind of see Maul and Ahsoka kind of make their splits different ways. We kind of see where Maul ends up. We see where Ahsoka ends up. I am really curious. Does Ahsoka find out Order 66 is happening and kind of just ventures off into like deep space to hide out? Does she hide out on Mandalore? Like what happens to Ahsoka? Because I don't think
I really need to know what happened to Rex. I really need to know how he survives.
How he survived. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. How dope would it be if in Mandalore season 2, Ahsoka is with Rex? How dope?
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
I would lose my shit, man, if Rex is with Ahsoka in live action for the Mandalorian season 2.
Yes.
I'd lose my shit, man.
Well, when is Mandalorian set in?
It's right after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Like right after the Empire fell.
Before, yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a boss move by Jon Favreau. I remember saying when I heard the Mandalorian was coming out, like, you know, they're not gonna do Jedi because no prevalent Jedi existed in between the time frame that they're telling the story. Well, we know Luke did, but obviously you're not gonna have Luke in the Mandalorian. So I was like, there's no way they're gonna do Jedi. And I remember when I heard it, and it was like, oh my god, Ahsoka. It makes sense. She was there. Like she was around. She was around that time. And AJ was reminding me like it's gonna suck, but not much longer after that. Probably towards when Ahsoka starts to die. Like she dies probably not much longer after wherever the events of the Mandalorian are taken from. Because I believe Rebels was before the events of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think Togruta lived to be quite old, if I'm not mistaken. I know Shakti was up there.
No, Shakti was up there. She was very much up there. You know, it's funny, Dakota. I don't think a lot of people realize they're the same. They're from the same
species. Yeah. I find it
What?
even weirder
Really?
that we still don't have a species for Yoda.
AJ, you didn't know that? They looked I'm like, they looked exactly like each other. No, but I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved if Plo Koon could have seen how.
I feel like he did. I feel like he might have, because I mean, look at it this way. What Obi-Wan learned from Qui-Gon, the whole coming back as a Force ghost thing, and how big it's become in this current Star Wars universe and stuff, like. All those Jedi manifested their voices to Rey. Like, there's no reason like Plo Koon couldn't have showed up to Ahsoka. And maybe that's one thing we'll get to see. You know, there's some kind of guiding force there.
Yeah, because we did see it when Obi-Wan needed it the most. Even though it was being manipulated, we saw Qui-Gon Jinn appear to him in Clone Wars, Star Wars and Clone Wars, when it was most needed. You know, him kind of putting some doubt on Obi-Wan about, is Anakin truly the chosen one? Maybe he's not. Maybe I was wrong. And Obi-Wan's like, bitch, you made me adopt this kid. What do you mean maybe you're wrong? Like, he better be. So, I mean, you kind of go back in your head and you're like, me and AJ were talking about this. How different would things be? Let me say this. AJ believed that if Qui-Gon Jinn were still alive, Anakin wouldn't have gone Sith. I believe Anakin still would have become Sith because the reason he became Sith had nothing to do with the Jedi. It was more so he believed it was the only way to save Padme.
Look, there are so many alternates to where this whole thing could have, like, if Obi-Wan had stayed on Coruscant and someone else had gone to Utapau to take out Grievous, Anakin probably wouldn't have fallen to the dark side. If Mace Windu was Anakin's master, he probably wouldn't have fallen to the dark side.
I think he would with Mace.
No, because
he'll fall under the pressure.
Mace would have helped him. Mace was the only Jedi that kind of straddled both sides. That's why he had the purple lightsaber. It represented both the good and the evils. So he knew, like, there's, yeah.
Go ahead.
And it's like, this whole family thing could have been avoided. Like, most people don't know, Ki-Adi-Mundi, one of the Jedi Masters, the cone-head looking dude, he had a family. Like, yeah, it's frowned upon and stuff, and Anakin would probably get in trouble. But at the end of the day, after everything he's accomplished, there's no reason to believe the Jedi would just throw him out because he had a wife and was expecting kids. That's people they can bring into. That's the son of the most powerful Jedi in the universe at the moment. Right. You know, they're gonna want to bring them in and make sure they're raised right with the light side of the Force. It's just
that's what I didn't understand about that. Why did they not want like Jedi to have kids or anything?
It's manipulations to the dark side. I mean, I get the reasoning for it, but still, I mean, it's like you can't stop it. Even Obi-Wan. And by the way, Obi-Wan for sure knows about Anakin and Padme.
Well, no,
he knew a long time.
We saw it in the episode. We saw it in the second episode of this season.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, did you tell Padme I said hi? He's like, damn it.
He's known. Yeah, he knows about them, which is like, I don't understand.
One thing I will say, if Mace or Qui-Gon Jinn were Anakin's, mentors or whatever, masters, there you go. I'm sorry. I don't know why that word just slipped my brain. If they were his masters, the one thing they would have helped prevent is how close Anakin became with Palpatine. Qui-Gon Jinn didn't like Palpatine. Windu didn't like Palpatine. They understood that they had to serve him, but they did not like him. So they would have made sure Anakin did not spend any more time with him than needed he needed to have.
And here's the whole thing: because the Jedi didn't grant him the rank of Master, had he been granted the rank of Master, he would have been able to access the restricted section of the Jedi archives, which contained like Sith knowledge, stuff he could have looked at. I feel like if Mace was his master, he could have told Mace about that, and Mace would have gone with him to do it. There has to be understanding in both sides of the Force. I truly believe that. Like, you can't just have one side without the other.
Right. I think a different master, it still would have ended in the same way, only because if it wasn't Palpatine, it could have been someone else of Sith knowledge that told him, hey, go to the dark side. They can help you save your wife and your kids. And Anakin,
I love destiny.
Go ahead.
I love that. You gotta love destiny.
Oh yeah, no, true. I look at it and I kind of go, I don't think at the end of the day there was anything that would have stopped it. Because it's something that, just like when people were like, well, why didn't Captain Marvel wear the gauntlet and do the snap? It was always meant for Tony to be the one to do that. Tony would have wanted to be the one to do that. Because if you go back...
And if it wouldn't have been Tony, it would have been Captain America.
Right, but if you go back to Cap and Stark's first argument together where he said, you're not the guy to make the sacrifice. You're not the guy to lay on the grenade,
and then you see
else. And
years
then
later.
Tony fulfill that by actually literally physically doing that. So it was destiny. It was meant for him to be the one to do that. So there is no, well, what if someone else? It was not meant to be that way. It was Tony's arc to come to a conclusion. So to me, it was Anakin's arc. Because without Vader, would we have had Obi-Wan to teach Luke? And if there's no Luke, is there Kylo? If there's no Kylo, is there a need for Snoke? So it starts to snow,
I agree. That's why they got rid of the whole expanded universe. It's just like there's too many what-if storylines that are going to conflict with everything you're trying to do out there. And I appreciate that they're starting to take more and more from Legends and bring it back into canon.
Exactly. The one problem I have with them taking out the expanded universe was that they got rid of the best Star Wars character ever in Starkiller.
Galen Barrick.
Like, why would you get rid of him? And I'm like, Starkiller was perfect as a Jedi, and then with Malik, when he became Malik, the version of him that was like a Sith Lord, I looked at that and I'm like, this guy...
You could have easily replaced the Inquisitors with the Sith Stalkers. You could have. Like, that's not even that hard to do.
Thank you. I'm watching Rebels and I'm like, I would have loved it if like Vader sent Starkiller to go around the galaxy and kill the remaining Jedi.
Now, the Inquisitors are dope, but I mean, they're dope.
I like the Inquisitors.
Oh, no. AJ, I was telling you, I love the Inquisitors. I had no problem with the Inquisitors. I thought that was a really nice touch for Dave Filoni. I'm just saying, we all would have loved to have seen Starkiller.
Yeah.
Or if
especially to see the incomplete Death Star like that.
Like their first son instead of that random guy. I forgot his name.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but Starkiller is one of those characters you just like. Everyone always loves telling me he's not canon, and I'm like, I know, but he should be.
He can be.
Canon.
He is partly. Sam Witwer still voices Darth Maul, so we still have
That's our little
left.
connection there. As long as Sam Witwer is here, we're good.
And by the way, he is the best voice actor for Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His voice
100%.
is perfect.
That's not even to be debated. It's not even to be anything to be discussed. He would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of this episode. We see Ahsoka kind of gets blocked off. We see Maul walks in, and Maul is not happy that he's looking at Ahsoka instead of Obi-Wan. But he does not mind getting rid of her. And what I love most about this episode was AJ brought this up. I want to give AJ a lot of credit. AJ was saying we have to give Darth Sidious a lot of credit because he's the one that sent Maul there, hoping Maul would take Obi-Wan so that he could focus more on Anakin. Because the events that we see in Revenge of the Sith where Obi-Wan gets knocked out and then Sidious is like, thank God, all right, Anakin, kill him. Like, kill him and come here. That was Palpatine's plan. Split the two of them up so he could have Anakin for himself, corrupt him, turn him. And, to Palpatine, he was like, either you kill Obi-Wan or Obi-Wan kills you, but I get rid of one of you. So I don't have to worry about both of you. And I loved when AJ said that because a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, that makes sense. That's why Palpatine seemed so happy when Obi-Wan got knocked out in Revenge of the Sith. It was like, I just wanted Anakin. Like that's why he even told him, like, leave him. Anakin's like, I can't just leave him. It's like,
yeah, his fate will be the same as ours.
Right.
Get fucked.
So much of AJ's point makes so much sense. So I wanted to give you credit for that, AJ, for pointing that out because I never really thought of it like that. I was like, oh, duh. I do want to ask you guys, starting with you, Dakota, what do you think the fate of Bo-Katan will be? Since we didn't see Bo-Katan, I don't think we saw her in Rebels. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we saw her in Rebels.
I think she's gonna become briefly the ruler, and then that Imperial Commando guy we saw at the end of The Mandalorian will kill her because he's got to acquire the Darksaber somehow. Right. I think we'll see more of Sabine Wren in more of that kind of role. Maybe. It's tough to say, but maybe we'll see that. Because, I mean, again, he's got to acquire the Darksaber somehow. So the Sabine Wren's the last one to have it.
Yeah.
And she went back to help her people.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. AJ, you're on the same wavelength. Sorry, I couldn't talk.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. All right. So I do want to ask this before we wrap this up. All right, rank them, Dakota. Rank them. Your top 5 Star Wars characters.
My top 5. Do they all have to be canon, or can I have some legends in
Whoever
there
you
too?
want. Whoever you want.
Definitely. Number 5 is Legends. Thrawn. The Thrawn books. It's by Timothy Zahn. They're some of the best friggin' writing I've ever heard in my life. Definitely that. I would say Revan is probably number 4 for me. His whole entire story arc is just part of why I fell in love with Star Wars in the first place. Number 3, I'm going to give it to Darth Plagueis because his backstory is just so phenomenal, and it was the Plagueis novel was such a good book to read. It illuminated a lot of things that you wouldn't know. Number two is Obi-Wan Kenobi because, like, the first Star Wars movie I ever saw was when I was 6 years old, and I went to go see The Phantom Menace in the theaters. And, like, right there, you're stuck with Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and then Anakin, and you're with Obi-Wan up to the end, and, like, you know, everybody sees him as like a father figure, and that's what makes the duel on Mustafar so painful to watch. It's like, these two are brothers, man. You know, he's trying to knock sense back into Anakin.
You were like a brother to me.
Yeah, exactly. He's just not hearing it. And then number 1, of course, is Anakin for me. Anakin Skywalker. It's just everything about it. Which I gotta say, and it's like I weigh this, but I give the slight edge to Matt Lanter's portrayal of Anakin Skywalker over Hayden Christensen's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He just, I don't know. He brings more persona to that role.
I agree, but I think the biggest detraction to Hayden is that the writing for Attack of the Clones was so horrible. Like it made him so whiny, so childish, so annoying.
I don't like sand.
Yeah. And then you watch Revenge of the Sith, and you're like, "That's the Anakin I've been waiting for."
Exactly.
That's Anakin.
You want to see him like brassy and stuff, and like
and I'm like
cutting 3 droids' head off with one lightsaber swipe.
Everyone who trashes Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker, I always tell them, think of this and think of this only. Take your mind back to Revenge of the Sith. The moment he gets rid of Windu, and you start to see Darth Sidious start to legit convert him over to the Sith and give him the name Darth Vader, the Anakin you see from there is unlike anything you would have expected. His range to go from the quote-unquote whiny Anakin to this just death machine was just like breathtaking. When you see the anger in his eyes, how much hate is starting to exude from him, you're like, that's it. I love it. I love it.
It's like they can make him as charming as they want. And the Clone Wars, it's like he's still gonna murder a room full of kids in like a week.
Oh yeah, 100%. But what I love about Anakin is there's so many scenes in the Clone Wars 7 seasons where you see the anger start to leak out.
You see him slip.
And you have to give so much credit to that animation department and so much credit to Matt. Because if you aren't able to voice that properly, or if you aren't able to capture the visual of the facial expressions, it's all off. And they're able to kind of do both. It's a great combo. They complement each other. But I'm with you. I would give the slight edge, even though I still love Revenge of the Sith.
Absolutely.
Hayden's arc. But my 5 really quickly, since we're expanding it, I'm definitely throwing in Starkiller at number 5.
Yeah.
Dark Plagueis. As AJ, he was in my top 5 last time we did it because I freaking love him. That's why I was upset when Snoke. They were like, "Oh, Snoke's just a nobody." What? Why?
He could have been Plagueis.
Why? That could have been Plagueis right there. Like I would have rather seen Plagueis reincarnate himself than
fucking Palpatine.
Yeah,
gross fingernails.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Go ahead, AJ.
Get a nail clipper.
I was like, I'm happy he wasn't Plagueis.
Why?
Because the story just didn't work for the character Plagueis himself.
Well, no, it did. I think if J.J. Abrams did all 3, I think Abrams was going with the idea of maybe making him Plagueis, because you see how mysterious he is. You see the idea of it looks like he has knowledge of the Sith that spawns well past Palpatine. So it was just like he seems very much like someone we've seen before, and then it quickly became, oh, he's just a nobody. That's why we killed him in the throne room. What a waste.
Dicks. And then you just see a vat full of them. I'm like,
right? Come on, what a waste.
In my face.
But yeah, so I got Starkiller, Plagueis, Cad Bane. Cad Bane makes my list. That's the best bounty hunter I've ever seen. That
needs a Western show. He's a Western character, man.
Yes. That's why I'm like, I watched The Mandalorian, and I'm like, there's no reason why Cad Bane couldn't show up.
He could. He should.
There's no reason why. We have no idea what happens to Cad Bane. We saw him seasons ago. Not episodes, seasons ago. Like, I think it's been like 3 or 4 seasons since we've seen him. Easily could pop up. And now,
can you just imagine if we had like a gunfight type scenario where he just like corners a bounty?
Dakota, picture a Western standoff where Cad Bane is holding his blaster in his holster, and you see him flick it up, and then you see the Mandalorian on the other side, the same thing, and it's like to see who shoots the fast. I'm telling you right now, I'd lose my shit. I would.
Wasn't there an episode where Cad Bane and I think it was Jango Fett that did that? There was like a
something close to that. Something close to that. But yeah, so also Dakota, me and AJ were laughing because so many people, I think AJ even was like, wait, he isn't? So many people thought the Fets were Mandalorians. They're not. They just
they claimed
the armor.
it. Yeah.
They stole the armor and the look of it. And that's why you heard
Boba Fett may be more true Mandalorian than Jango Fett was. I will say 100%.
That. But you did hear Pre Vizsla, or no. It might have been Duchess Satine. You heard somebody in the Clone Wars saying someone took their style and made them look like villains. And they were referring to was it Boba Fett or Jango Fett?
Jango Fett, probably.
Jango Fett. I think it was Jango Fett.
We can't even distinguish the two.
Can I be honest with you? I think they're both horrible. So I'm trying to remember of the father and son, like which one I hated more. And I'm like, they were both very boring.
Man, I love Boba Fett. I want to see more of him.
See, once I saw The Mandalorian, I'm like, I don't really need to see more of any of the Fett. I want more of whoever this guy is. Like, this guy is doing it for me. But before we run out of time here, I'm going to go Starkiller, Plagueis, Cad Bane, Anakin, and number 5. Who did I put as my number 5? Malgus. Malgus is my number 5. It was very difficult not to put Ahsoka in there. I want to put Ahsoka in there, but I can't put her over Starkiller.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Starkiller, no, I can't. Starkiller was so OP.
Ahsoka
so
over
OP and I
Starkiller.
loved it. No, I won't. I refuse. What's your 5, AJ?
So this is in no specific order. I have Asajj, Ahsoka. I have Darth Maul. I have Thrawn, and then I have Obi-Wan.
I love it. I love your
Dig
list.
it, man.
I love all of our lists. I love this, and I hope we could get together every Saturday, even when Clone Wars is over. There's plenty of Star Wars stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
New old movies.
We still got the High Republic coming.
Yeah, so we got so much to talk about. I want us to do this as much as possible. I love talking Star Wars with you guys. Hopefully we can get the other Dakota on here because he loves it.
Really got to balance it out.
We got to balance it out. 2 Dakotas.
I don't know about him, man. I'm pure Sith, dude. I would go straight to the dark side.
I love it, man. Our lists were very heavy on the dark side.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
So you guys know where we lie at. We're going straight Sith. We're not even wasting time. Screw that Jedi. We're going to the Sith. But we do have including the other Dakota. We do have 3 other people that want to be a part of this that are huge Star Wars fans. So we built the Star Wars family here in GVN. So we're gonna try to do this, guys, every Saturday. We call it Star Wars Saturdays. Huge shout out to AJ, came up with the name. So let's try to do this as much as we can. Dakota, I'll also let you know next time we do game night.
Absolutely.
You could be a part of that. AJ, we gotta try to catch you, man, on a night that's good for you, man.
I've been going to sleep at like 6 o'clock.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
I've been working at 3 a.m. almost every day.
I got you. We got to find a day that works for you. Maybe we could do it a little bit earlier, but we definitely
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my day off.
All right, maybe we could do one this Wednesday. I can see what everybody is doing, see if we can get one in this Wednesday. But this is all we got for you guys on this this edition of Star Wars Saturday. I'm going to immediately upload this to YouTube to share it around. Thank you guys for joining me for this. And AJ, thank you for doing it again. Even though we had a perfect first episode, like a perfect one.
So mad that they took it off. I'm mad.
Still mad, man. And it's crazy because I still have it in my iMovie. I still have it. Like every time I go to edit other videos and I look at it, I'm like, perfect video. But I am glad we got to do this over with you, Dakota, get your take on the episode. And I'm glad we got to kind of just dig into our Star Wars nerdisms.
Yes.
But we will see you guys next Saturday, same time, same place.
May the force be with you.
Right.